Can you find mine? You haven't deleted mine yet, have you? Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. So those of you that don't know, my name is Jaala Beauchamp. I'm the Youth Services Librarian with Bundaberg Regional Council Libraries. I'm also the QPLA rep for the Central Queensland region and conference convener because I haven't got enough titles. I would like to start by again acknowledging the traditional owners and the role that they have had and will forever have in original storytelling and storytelling through the ages. Passive programming. So other than the fact that I like alliteration, passive programming is powerful and it's not a new concept. In fact, many of us are probably using a form of it now without labelling it or without knowing it. These programs are informal, interactive, they require no bookings and limited to no staff supervision, yet are budget, time and staff friendly. They add so much value to our service and may even help us bring more of our community into our libraries. So why don't we run passive programs more often? Perhaps we become overwhelmed by the options. A simple search, because we all love Google, a simple search of Google or Pinterest will throw up lots and lots and lots of options. And this can be kind of overwhelming, confusing, particularly if you're not able to kind of picture where that's going to fit within your library. So it can come to questions, and yes, we have even more. Questions such as, where would that even fit in my library? I don't have space. Where would I even start? How much would that really cost us? Who would staff it? What if I'm not creative or crafty? You get the picture, lots of questions. I think the most amazing thing about passive programming is their ability to be customised to suit the situation, or in our case, the library service. It can be small, like a library scavenger hunt, or as big and complex as an escape room or a play space. The size of the program doesn't necessarily dictate the impact. The value lies in the passive program's ability to engage with the target audience without draining our resources. Like anything, passive programming has its drawbacks and its positives. This may be another reason why we don't consider using passive programs on a more regular basis, because there are some drawbacks to it. As you can see here, the pros are, it does require less staffing, it attracts a variety, it's such a wide range to the programs, it's fully customizable to the demographic that you're wanting to engage with. It's self-paced, self-guided, it can be as short or as long as you're wanting. It's very flexible and, like I said, short or as long as you want and as big and small as you want. The cons are, it does sometimes take time to prepare. Obviously, if you're finding activity sheets, there's going to be less time to prepare than an escape room situation. Young children will need adult supervision, sometimes because of the items in the space, but also sometimes just to read the instructions and fully engage with the space. What I'd like to point out as I'm doing the cons is that it's very clear that these cons can actually be turned into an opportunity as well. So large groups may find a single self-directed task hard to imagine. So if you imagine on the cons, preparation can take some time, but like we know, learnings and opportunities. Young people will need adult supervision, but that's a great opportunity to engage with those families and help tool them and equip them with tools to engage with that space and engage with their child. And large groups may find a single self-directed task hard to manage, but that's another opportunity to look at, well, is there other single tasks that you can put around the place that they can engage with as well? So when you look at it, there's not really any cons. So in our library service, I have used passive programming pretty much throughout any of my careers, but I really didn't come to realise the true power of it until the wonderful COVID hit. This is a perfect example of just how you can engage with your clients with COVID guidelines in place. So these are examples of scavenger hunts. And like anything, they can be tweaked. Does anyone know, do their own scavenger hunts in their library service? Yeah? So this is a very common passive activity, and that's what I mean at the very beginning. I said you're probably using these in your library without knowing it or labelling it as such. So it's just simply a little activity to engage the children in our libraries, or adults if they're bored, and we've targeted it, to go around and find the pictures, tick it off, and then they come up to the front counter, engage with the staff at the counter, and become a super scavenger with a sticker or a stamp. So that could be done in a very COVID-safe way. It didn't encourage people to actually come into the library just to do the scavenger hunt, but what it did encourage was a lot of value around that. There was a lot of valuable conversations happening, and there was a lot of those moments in the library where they had reason to linger, they had reason to engage with areas of the library that they wouldn't have before. Another example of a passive program I've run is the Dinosaur Interactive Exhibition. So this program did take a bit more planning to do, obviously, and I think was very fun. So, you have to excuse me in amongst the roles. I didn't get to learn this as well as I wanted to. So up here we've got a dinosaur exhibition space. So this was run over about 2 to 3 months across 3 of our main branches. This allowed families to come in and interact with the spaces at their own pace as long as the library was open. In those spaces we had actual fossils and we had lots of other play equipment. What I want you to notice is that the 3 different libraries have very different spaces. And this is an example of how one thing can be customized to the spaces, to your clientele, your demographic, your community. Even the activities that were put in place were different. There was a lot of common items, obviously, but there was also a lot of difference in terms of just how much space they had. This activity across the region engaged approximately 2,500 children and 705 adults over that period of 2 to 3 months. So along with these statistics, which we really liked gathering, the activity also generated a lot of positive feedback, which the kids are still coming in today going, when's the dinosaurs back? Or what's our next one? What's our next theme? And they'll say, oh, Mum, Dad, do you know there were dinosaurs here? And so that's a lot of conversations and a lot of great memories created in the spaces that could be customised. And again, this is something that we've run in the previous year with the Mini Beast interactive exhibition. So that's why they're asking, what's the next theme? What's the next one going to be? And can we get the other ones back again? So that's really positive feedback, and even 6 to 12 months later, they're still asking about those sorts of things. Again, I really want to highlight how customizable passive programs can be. So some of our spaces don't have the luxury of an empty room to fill, or a big table to fill, or any space in the library that we can dedicate just to a single project. But I want you to think about, well, how can that then suit our space? Can it just go on a small table? Can it go up to the front counter and just be interacted with the staff at the front counter? Now, I'd like to draw attention to the Australian Public Library Statistical Report 2020 to 2021, compiled by State Library of Queensland in March 2022, which revealed a stark decrease in library program attendance that has been tracked over the past 5 years. While all states in Australia have experienced a decrease in attendance at library programs, we're not alone. In Queensland, our program attendance has decreased by 37.1% over a 5-year period and 23.5% in comparison to the previous year. This trend is concerning, and by no means am I saying passive programming will solve it, but I am saying that passive programming is something that can boost our engagement and participation rates in a flexible, customisable, sustainable way. Consider passive programming to be an ace in the hand when working around barriers. Don't know how to engage teenagers? Try a passive program. Try a program such as a 3-word book review or book face. If you're not sure how to engage and you have no space, try an online program such as add your book title here to a random picture on social media. Really, these are just very basic examples, but I think we can say that there is probably a passive program for most things. Sadly, I can't say there's a passive program to overcome every barrier that we face, but sometimes they create creative outlook where we can adjust. So whether you're using them now or not, it's important to be aware of passive programs as they're a powerful tool when providing engaging and enriching programs. If you need more information, there are my socials. And if you're considering it or you're wanting to reconsider it, here are some further considerations.